Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Lydia Michalitsianos of Build Yourself Inside Hypnosis and Life Coaching. Lydia, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Gresham. It's great to be here.
No problem. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name too much. I was practicing and trying, so hopefully I didn't mess that up. But I wanted to introduce you to Lydia so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. And Lydia is a hypnotist and transformation coach in Falls Church, Virginia area, where she works with individuals who focus on high performance, including athletes, entrepreneurs, professional speakers, and other highly motivated professionals in order to help them get out of their own way to achieve their goals and live a life boldly and unapologetically. In the past, Lydia worked as a professional trainer and competed in amateur bodybuilding competitions, and now combines hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming, eye movement therapy, and many other healing techniques to create space for internal healing as well as external transformation for her clients. Lydia, are you ready to speak to the I Am CEO community?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So the first question I had was to hear a little bit more about what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Yeah, I feel like probably like most of us, like my business chose me. Mm-hmm. It was a kind of a gift that I was almost forced to really recognize, and at this point, if I try and move away from it, it's even more painful, right? Because it's like, I feel like I'm here because I have this knowledge and I'm supposed to serve others. And it really started out, I went through a lot of trauma as a kid, and I'm totally fine with sharing it here. Nothing new, a lot of bullying because I was a very obese teenager. Mm-hmm. Lost my dad when I was 11 years old. So already like I had no father figure in my life pretty much. And, no one to kind of help me learn how to protect myself and build boundaries and things like that. And it wasn't up until about like my mid-20s, I realized there was something unusual about me, that there was like things I was dealing with others weren't. And when that clicked, was like, well, why do others not have this problem of eating their emotions or eating their feelings and binge eating? I'm like, why, if that person can not have this issue, well, why do I? Right. And that's when I started to investigate the gap between, someone who, what I started investigating was happiness. I started studying happiness, after putting myself in the hospital multiple times and trying to fix my happiness through losing weight, which was a lot of people do. A lot of people go on that quest to they think losing weight will bring happiness and self-respect and all those things. And it's impossible to try and build that from losing weight. And it's just, it's an impossible quest that we give our subconscious minds. And I learned the hard way that this has to really be reprogrammed in our subconscious and in our own neurology.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And well, thank you so much for, sharing that, because I think that a lot of people are, going through certain issues. And I don't know if you can speak to this yourself, but a lot of times if you don't know that there's an alternative, you don't know that there's a different way, like you mentioned, the eating and things, you don't know that that's not the only way. That's not how everything is. Then sometimes when that's brought to light where you realize that that's not, exactly how you have to do something, then that opens up like a whole different opportunity.
It's so fascinating. And I really started touching on this specifically. I recently went away to a hypnosis training in Nashville with Steve Rame, who's really awesome. We touched more on a conversational hypnosis. So more covert hypnosis for people who are, scared of hypnosis, or, you can just start creating change just through conversation. And we talked about that we talked about how people just don't even know that like there's an infinite number of realities that you can build. I mean, it's infinite. And that's when it really clicked, was like, well, why am I here? Like, why am I 200 something pounds when I'm 22? And then this person is lean. I'm like, what's different? Right. And same thing happened. It was in college, I was having sleeping issues. I had anxiety since I was probably in middle school, because I could think of so many times that could have, triggered, in middle school triggered anxiety. Right. God knows which one set off or created those compounding effects. But yeah, somebody said that I told them it takes me 3+ hours to fall asleep, and they gave me this look like, what? That's kind of weird. And I was like, huh? What are you talking about? And then that's when I was like, oh my gosh, this is very unusual. This is not like when I heard people were falling asleep in 15 minutes, I was like, whoa, how do I do this?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. How do I emulate that? No, that's awesome. And I love the fact that like you said, your business found you. So sometimes like you I always believe like, we have like a higher purpose and things that sometimes you're put in certain positions because you're able to not only help yourself, but it sounds like you're able to kind of help out others. So could you touch a little bit more on like what you're doing to kind of help out these entrepreneurs, business owners, people that might be going through certain issues?
Yeah, I started out my business just wanting to help everybody, right? Like we all do, and everybody can use my help, right?
Yes.
And I quickly learned that there's such a great quote that I heard, and it was, everybody wants to change their life, but not everybody wants to change their life.
Mm,
And when I really began to see and understand that people will pay me thousands and still not do anything.
mhm,
And it just blew my mind that money is just not even a factor for some people. It's not enough skin in the game, especially for people who do make a lot of money. They can give you $10,000 and just be like, and just forget about it. So, not that it's about the money, but money, as you know, is a really good way to filter people who are like, I got to have this. I got to go. This has to happen now. And that's how money talks. Right. So, what I really focus on are people who are determined. They're stuck. They know they have control over their lives. They're ready to take control. They're ready to take responsibility. They just, what I tell people is like, my wheels are always spinning. My feet
mhm.
are always doing this. I just need to be put on the right track, and I will just go. And I'll just keep going until I hit another wall, and then I'm spinning my wheels again, and I'll just keep going. And it's those people who I look for, and they're usually the same people. They're who I was before I went and saw a hypnotist.
Mm,
So these are people who read like Tony Robbins books. They're reading they have a huge amount of self-help books at home, and they're looking at YouTube videos. They're doing self-study, but it's not really working for them as much as they want it to. So they might be getting a lot of insight, but they're not really getting a lot of change. And that's exactly where I was when I was, at this point, I was having anxiety attacks, panic attacks. I was on, panic medicine, sleep medicine, pain medicine, and antidepressants. I mean, my purse just rattled like a baby's, like a baby's toy. And it was at that point I was like, this is not working. There has to be another way. And it's that type of mindset. It's just like that there has to be something else out there. And that's the type of people I get. It's like, I'm not going to do pills. I'm not going to stay on pills. And I don't feel motivated anymore because of antidepressants. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And those people I tell potential clients over the phone, like those people hands down get the best results because they just go, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's funny because a lot of times, like you said, you just have to put them on the right path because they're motivated, they're ready to go, their engines going and probably going and overload, and you just
Yeah.
have to direct them in the right place. So I could definitely, speak to that as well too. Yes, me too. Exactly. So now I wanted to ask you for what I call your secret sauce, and this could be for like you or your organization. But what do you feel kind of sets you apart?
I think there's something, when it comes to weight loss, what I find, and especially doing market research, is that you have weight loss centers, right? And what I find is it's like a $2,000 or $3,000 program where they give you a pill, something that they're trying to sell or whatever, and then they give you some sort of cookie cutter, here's your new nutrition plan, and go work out. And then you have personal trainers, which are great, right? But they're really there to give you advice on what to eat, but really their focus is getting you right in the gym, teaching you about the equipment, teaching you about the exercise. And then you have nutritionists, which are great too. They're there to help, alleviate disease and diabetes and things like that. But what I really found was these people weren't really getting me to where I needed to be. And because most of it really was coming from the inside. It
Mhm.
was, emotions drive everything we do. Whether it's choosing not to do something or choosing to do something, it's always emotionally driven. And so, I was talking to some organization yesterday, the SEIU something. They have like a perks program, and they wanted to add me to that, but I didn't want to pay their fees.
Mhm.
But they asked me the same question. I was like, I don't know any other weight loss centers or personal trainers or bodybuilding coaches or any kind of weight loss specialist that knows how to help you reprogram your mind for permanent weight loss, not just to help you lose weight, but to help you build the infrastructure that most people don't have when they start out on this quest. Because where does everybody start? In the gym. Right. And then they're getting up and they're getting knocked down and they're unmotivated and they're eating their results away. And now it's the weekend and it's time to reward myself. And you absolutely cannot keep results from a new habit unless you're maintaining and you're keeping up that new habit on a regular basis. It has to be, you have to change your life. That's really what it comes down to. It's so long-winded answer, but what I feel like separates me is really permanency, really changing yourself from the core being and not just trying to manipulate people in your environment and food and in your kitchen, but trying to change who yourself at an identity level is where things need to happen.
Yeah. And I absolutely love that. I absolutely love, your company name, because it speaks exactly to that, because it talks about, I think a lot of people sometimes miss, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, those parts do play a part, like being able to go to the gym. But if you haven't really worked on that inner game, so to speak, you haven't, dealt with some of the things you may not want to face, or some of the things that might be traumas in your life or things like that, then it's going to be really hard, if not possibly impossible.
Yeah.
I don't like using that word, but to be able to get the results that you're looking for when you haven't dealt with that inner game, so to speak.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not saying you can't lose weight. Well, of course, if you have an energy deficit, you can lose whatever weight you want. It's about maintaining that work. And I yo-yo dieted for, probably since I was like a teenager. I started out investigating weight loss pills and appetite suppressants and all the ways to push the balloon underwater, right? To try and keep that balloon underwater. And it was an uphill battle. It's what felt like an uphill battle. And I'm like, why do others not have this uphill battle? And what it came down to was like, I was using food as a crutch for my emotions. And usually this spills out, so for people who come to me with relationship problems, they usually have poor habits with food, and they usually have other poor relationships, their family and their friends. They usually have awkward social skills. It's this, and that's the beautiful thing about this work is when I had my trainer hypnotist work on me in Nashville, the effects compound like a domino effect throughout your life. And the beautiful part is most of it's outside of your awareness. You don't even know you've changed your behavior. And when you go back and you're like, whoa, did I just do that? Did I just like walk up to that person? Did I just choose the right thing to do? It's, you no longer need willpower. You no longer need to be so disciplined and have that rope so tight around your neck. It's those things only get you so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes I guess, and definitely, again, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're so close to it as well too, and maybe it might be a trauma where you really don't want to face it anyways, that it's harder to kind of recognize that and maybe take actions to correct that. Do you find that with clients?
It is the scariest thing, I think, to realize and accept that you have been behaving in a way for so long that has been sabotaging you and making your life harder or even hell. It is so hard to, it's like coming out of a relationship you've been unconscious in for like 15 years or 10 years or even a year. And it's I think it is very scary, and it's why I ask really, really questions that are specific to people's neurology and unconscious, because that's when I hear whether they're coachable or not. Like if I start asking them questions about what they're doing and they get defensive, well, I know right then and there's nothing I can do. So, and it is fear. For me, it was a fear of being seen. For a lot of people who come in for weight reduction, as I like to say now, not weight loss, because weight loss implies that something has to be found, right? So this comes back to neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah.
But, for me, the body fat was body armor, because I had received some unwanted attention as a kid. My unconscious made a little, I experienced basically what we call a synesthesia, and it's two firing mechanisms. So it's a feeling and a visual response that happened at the same time gets stored in the memory bank. And then over the course of your life, your unconscious mind is looking for similar events. So it's trying to protect you and compounding those fears, getting, it's like being attacked by a dog as a kid. Now you're going to be on the lookout for dogs, right? And you become blind to other things. So, for me, the body fat was more of like body armor. So every time I lost weight, I would start to just get emotional and scared, and I didn't know why. And that's the thing, you might not even know why this is happening, which is the great thing about hypnosis is you don't really need to know. You can just talk to the unconscious mind. You can just get a response. And we can't not, the unconscious mind can't not ever communicate. Like you're not in your head right now, right? The unconscious mind, the body can never not communicate. And that's where you'll find all the answers.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, because a lot of times, and your unconscious mind will kind of, I guess, lead your steps and lead your direction without you being aware of it. I guess the whole idea of a conscious. So it's great to hear that, you've been able to kind of help people out with that, and help people to kind of get to those goals and actually change their lives in a meaningful way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy work. I'll say it right here. It's not easy work. It's not cheap work.
Right.
And, I have probably spent over 6 figures on just personal development coaches, hypnotists. I work with a hypnotist at least once a month just for maintenance and continued work. And I'm like, it becomes an addiction because it's less willpower, it's less discipline, and it's more change that you want. And what could be more addicting than seeing yourself grow, improve, build confidence, make more money? I mean,
absolutely. And so would you consider that to be like what I usually call like your CEO hack? Would you consider that to be the thing that makes you more effective and efficient, just like the investment in self-development?
Yeah, it's a different level of self-development. This is different. This is for people. When I look at people who are at the top, like the top of the top of the top, I mean, who are up there, and not people who are on the grid either. They kind of tend to stay off the grid, not like people who are on TV. I mean, I'm making kind of a blanket statement here, but for someone to really start making an enormous amount of money, I mean, billions of dollars, to be totally cool in front of like thousands, millions of people, to be so secure in themselves and to be so confident, that takes a different level of focus. This is not just like, I'm going to read a few pages of a book a night. This is like, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to hire a speaking coach. I'm going to learn how to sell. I'm going to learn how to sell consciously. I'm going to learn how to be as effective as I can in whatever it is I'm doing. And in order to do that, and even if it's getting fit, you have to learn how to master your mind. You really have to learn how to be in control of your mind so it's not controlling you, because it's either one or the other.
Exactly. You got to choose this or that. So make the right decision. I absolutely love that. And now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is a word of wisdom or piece of advice, or if you can hop into a time machine, like what would you tell your younger business self?
My younger business self. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Younger business self. Mm-hmm.
Younger business self. I think the message would be, do what matters. Do what matters most. Because, I started out this business knowing I did want to work with hypnosis and heal people. But what really is my driver is the nonprofit that I'm starting, is working with the youth. That is really what I'm so passionate about. Like, I don't need to be paid for that. And obviously I'm not going to be paid for it right now with the nonprofit, So, I just recently met with Alexandria Public Schools, and I'll be working with MacArthur Douglas to test my pilot. And it's such an importance to me. It's like in a place in my mind that nothing can touch it. Like nothing anybody can say, do. It's like there's a solid cement wall around it, and it's just going to happen. Even my business coach says, I don't think you can handle both your LLC and your nonprofit at this point in time. And I was like, I don't give a shit. This is going to happen somehow, whether it's 10 hours a week or whatever. I will not survive unless this is part of my life. So in the business world. So yeah.
I love that. It's that relentlessness that, a lot of people say that that's not possible. That's not going to happen. But sometimes just people that, roll up their sleeves and just, put in the work, put in the time, and just grit it out to get things done.
Yeah. This is a conversation we all had in our class last week. And some of the best hypnotists in the world are doctors, right? Mm-hmm. People in white coats, right? Because automatically their authority in our own minds. And already what matters is what they say, right? And I had doctors straight up tell me after I broke my leg and I was having complications and I was walking weird and my back was hurting. And they would just straight up tell me, this is the new you. This is just what you do now. This is how things are. And I was like, oh, okay. And imagine how much that put me behind for so many years, because the doctor's like, no, this is just what it is now. And I was like, oh, got it.
Yeah.
Some of the best hypnotists in the world are just people that we see as authority, and we immediately take in what they have to say and accept that as true.
I love that. I love that. And just to clarify, so by hypnotists, you're saying people that aren't necessarily hypnotists, but they just because they seem like they're authorities, you take their word as like gospel.
Exactly. And all hypnosis is bypassing your conscious mind. That's all hypnosis is. And we do this all day, every day. I mean, TV is a form of self-hypnosis. Reading is a form of self-hypnosis. Any sort of trance you go into, whether it's when you're driving, just being in this conversation right now is a form of trance, like a light state of trance. So, I mean, imagine how deep you go when you're watching television, or when you're talking to yourself, you're doing some affirmations or things like that. These are all forms of self-hypnosis and influence. So think about anything that influences you is probably hypnotizing you to do something, to go out to Target, or to go buy this new car, or to do something that maybe doesn't serve you so well. And why not learn how to do that to yourself?
Right. Exactly. You know what's happening. So like you said, it's either this or that. So why not leverage that as much to your benefit? So I love that perspective. And now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Lydia, I want to ask you, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Wow. Being a CEO means that I think the first word that comes to my mind is control. And it probably has kind of a negative connotation attached to it for some people. But for me, being in control in my business means that I can preserve my energy for the right audience. And I don't have to take people who are just looking for a shortcut or just looking to waste their time or my time. And, I'm getting ready to fire a client today, and part of me, I'm very torn, but I have to release people who are just in it to prove me wrong. And that's perfectly fine. So being a CEO means to me that I can control my destiny.
I absolutely love that. And sometimes you have to control your destiny. And by controlling your destiny, you have to make decisions about certain relationships, certain clients, certain people that will be in your life and won't be in your life. And I've always learned that sometimes you have to create space so that better opportunities sometimes come in. So I appreciate you for doing that. And I'm sure the world appreciates you as well too, for, making those tough decisions as well. Yeah. So Lydia, I truly appreciate you for taking some time out. What I want to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you want to let our readers and our listeners know, and then how best they can get a hold of you.
Yeah. And this message is for the right people, and they'll know who they are. And it's that don't give up. Like, just don't stop. There's always someone out there that can guide you, that can help you. And it's just a matter of finding them. And it was that way when I hurt my back, I dislocated my back and broke my leg. It was like, I just need the right winning medical entourage. And I found them, and I pay them $400 a month, and that's okay. Because they're getting me back into the gym and back into, athletic shape. So it's just to persevere. Just don't listen to anybody and just listen to yourself. Practice listening to yourself. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can visit my website. And that URL is buildyourselfinside.com, all one word. And from there, they can find my social media information, my phone number, also some contact information there too.
Awesome. Well, I truly appreciate you, Lydia, for all the awesome things that you're doing. And we'll make sure to have those links in the show notes as well, so that anybody can click through and follow up. But I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day, and I truly appreciate you.
Thanks, Gresham. I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much.